What's going on, guys? In this video, we're going to go over one of the big changes that Blizzard made with the Barbarian, and that is the Raekor set. The 5-piece bonus Furious Charge gains the effect of every rune. That is pretty cool. This is similar to the Veer set for the Wizard. Not nearly as strong, but can be a lot of fun. And I'll go over the skills here real quick, and then we'll come back around and kind of explain why you've got these going. Weapon Throw with Mighty Throw, Seismic Slam with Stagger, Furious Charge with Dreadnought, War Cry with Impunity, Battle Rage with Marauder's Rage, Call of the Ancients with Together as One. For your passives, Berserker Rage, Weapons Master, Tough as Nails, and Superstition. Now we're going to go over these skills and exactly how they work and why they're working. Now, not only with the Raekor set, but it's also good if you can have the Immortal King set, the IK set. And that's the 4-piece bonus where the Call of the Ancients last until they die. And they're going to look a little something like that. Those guys. And they're very important for this build because, and I'll go over this with you. We're going to do a little bit of gameplay afterwards, so stick around for that and we'll explain just how this is going to work and just how effective this can be. We're going to hop in Torment 6. This is good up until a certain extent in greater rifts. I do find this a little bit more difficult for single target damage, but again, we'll go over that afterwards. As far as the skills go, we're going to go with primary with your weapon, with Weapon Throw. And we're going to have that as Mighty Throw. And that changes the damage to lightning, which is what this is going to revolve around, having those lightning skills. This increases thrown weapon to 400% damage, and it throws it out like that, which, this is a little bit of a ranged attack. Sometimes it's going to be a little tough getting in there with Furious Charge, especially with Fire Chains and some other options. So it's always good to be able to stay at ranged. With that being said, our other attack is Seismic Slam with Stagger. And this changes the attack to lightning as well. And this slam the ground causes a wave of destruction that deals 620% weapon damage to enemies up to 45 yards in front of you. So this actually acts as a ranged attack, given the amount of distance it can cover. It reduces the fury cost, which makes this pretty important. Hammer of the Ancients, there was another one here. When you kill an enemy, I didn't find this to be as effective. I'd rather it to be on hit as opposed to, having a skill that requires it to, kill something. Plus, this does a little bit more damage with the reduced fury cost, kind of makes it worth it. So it can act as a little bit of a range there. You can see just how far that travels. They increase the radius, the cone out in front of it. It's pretty nice. Furious Charge, this is the one thing you got to pay attention to. If you're running the Raekor set, it's going to, choose the damage type of the rune that you have selected. So you're going to have to choose Dreadnought if you want lightning, or if you decide you want to go with, a physical or a fire build. It's going to be, your choice. I did try the fire build in the PTR. I also tried the lightning build. While this does do a lot more damage with the Furious Charge, there's going to be some other reasons why you're going to run with lightning. So we're going to pick Dreadnought there. And we're not going to go over each of the runes. Feel free to check those out. One of the main things with this one is that it pulls all your enemies to where you're going. And you're going to see just how fun that can be when you're clearing some areas. Battle Rage with Marauder's Rage. We have this. This gives you the extra 15% damage as opposed to 10%. Plus, you get the extra crit hit chance of 3%. So this is good to have along just, sheer damage. I've tried to look at some other options you could go with, whether it be Wrath of the Berserker, which might be an option as you get to those greater rifts. Something like reduce all damage taken, because you will take quite a bit of damage by grouping so much stuff up. And there are certain elite packs that can actually cause you to have a little bit of issues. War Cry with Impunity. This increases your resistances to all elements by 20%, which is very important, like I said, as you get up there. This also increases your armor for you and your allies as well. So it's a good thing to have around for defensive purposes. You can also build up a little bit of fury as well when you do use that. Lastly, Call of the Ancients, Together as One. Now, you're going to find the Ancients are, they function a little bit differently. They're set up a little better. They changed the AI on a lot of the pets, especially for Witch Doctor and Barbarian, so that things are, attacking a little bit more as they should. So they're actually they've become more beneficial to have around. And one of the things about this, and you can read that, they're each going to do damage there, and then they're going to use, the different skills. One of the things that works really well here by having the lightning build, 50% of all damage dealt to you is instead divided evenly between the ancients. This is huge. This is almost like running Unity on you and your follower. But you have, 50% of it being divided up, and these guys can take, quite a bit of damage. Different guys are going to create different things, but this also, converts everything into lightning. So this is a really good thing to have. And like I said, you're going to be in there taking damage, so it's good if you can take less. Now, we're going to move on to the passives. Now, this one here, not a necessity. If you're clearing, average rifts, average, greater rifts, this is okay to keep around. You deal 25% additional damage while near maximum fury. And one of the things about Furious Charge is you gain 10 additional fury for each enemy hit while charging. So you can stay boosted up. This one reduces the cooldown of it. I said we weren't going to go over these, but now we are. You're going to reduce the cooldown for every enemy that you hit as well. So that's a good thing to have. So you're going to be, chaining these things back to back. Excuse me. And so you can continue to run Furious Charge over and over and over again. So long as you're at max Fury, you're going to have an extra 25% damage. It says while near maximum Fury in the notes. They said 95%. But this is good to have around. If you're running greater rifts, you might want to run with something like Nerves of Steel, especially if you have a decent amount of vitality. There's a couple other options you can go with as well around here, but for now we're going to focus on those two. Next up, Weapons Master, just for the increased damage. Again, you can also go another direction with this as well. Nerves of Steel, you can load up your defensive ways, because like I said, you are going to take damage with this. Make sure you have defensive set up, else you're not going to survive with this. You're bringing a lot of things in close, and you're bringing a lot of attention to yourself. It can be good if you can change it back to back so that you can stun a bunch of stuff. But you're going to find stuff like fire chains, lightning damage off of elites, and that's the main place where you're going to take damage. Not necessarily the white mobs, but it's going to be those elite mobs. Tough as nails for no purpose other than defense. Increase your armor by 25%. Superstition, reduce all non-physical damage by 20%. When you take damage from an elemental attack, you have a chance to gain 2 fury. That's good to have around. So you're going to have all of these different things going. As far as gear goes, now I do have 2 decent weapons for this. The Odin Sun, which has the extra lightning damage, plus 38% chance to chain lightning enemies when you hit them. Good thing to have around there. Thunder Fury, again, this does more lightning damage, and I got a decent roll on this, so this is a good thing to have around. There are a couple other combinations you can go with. I'm even looking at, because there's one very important piece that I don't have. Kadala does not want to give it to me. The Vile Ward Shoulders in 2.1 actually now increase the damage of your Furious Charge by X amount of percent for enemies hit and stuff like that. So it's really an interesting piece, because if you want to keep the IK set, then you're going to have to put the Raekor's gloves on. And one of the things that you can do, and I did run with this in the PTR, is to go ahead and use the IK weapon. Now, it's not a bad choice. Your seismic slams are going to be a little bit slower, but your Furious Charge and everything else is going to be the same speed. The only problem is single target. That's the hardest part with this build. Single target, not the best compared to some of the other classes out there. And that's going to be the only downfall I would say from this. Having weapon throw, as a fury generator in the meantime, because Furious Charge, if you're only hitting one enemy, it's only going to come around every so often. Even if I have 30% cooldown reduction off of 10 seconds. You take 2 seconds off of that. From hitting one guy, you have 8 seconds, so you're looking at just under 3 seconds there. So that means you're going to have at least 7 seconds that you're going to be sitting around. I wouldn't recommend putting too much into cooldown reduction, but you got to have a backup plan, which is where Seismic Slam comes into play, which is where Weapon Throw comes into play. So that's good to have around. In order to get both of the sets running at the same time, obviously you're going to need a Royal Ring of Grandeur. So that's a good thing to have around. There's a lot of very, very interesting gems from the greater rifts that you can consider putting in. I'm going to leave that for your own personal preference because there are so many options there. You can put them in your rings, you can put them in your amulets, stuff like that. Amulet, I don't have a very good amulet for my Barbarian, so we have this. Decent roll for a yellow, plus some cooldown reduction. Like I said, the IK and the Raekor set. We've got a Stone of Jordan with lightning damage, so we're keeping that on for the extra elite damage. And then Reaper's Wraps. If you have some strong arm bracers, really good to have around because you're going to get that increased damage on knockback. The only ones that I have fire damage, and I don't really find that that's as beneficial as the lightning damage on there compared to, you know, the extra damage you're going to do when you knock back an enemy. So that's it for the gear. That's it for the skills. Paragon points. I personally run with Max Fury. Just because I like getting off the extra seismic slams when needed. It's not necessarily with not necessary with Furious Charge building up the Fury, especially with the enemies hit. But it's a good thing for single target damage to be able to, you know, pop off enough seismic slams. Getting your movement speed maxed out in combination with your gear, and then the rest into strength. Offense-wise, I do have points into cooldown reduction just so I can try and get that Furious Charge back a little bit quicker. I personally need crit hit chance. And then you could always go with crit hit damage. I do need the crit hit chance to put me right about 45, and that will put me about 48 with the Battle Rage. Resist all, definitely go there first with your points, and then armor, because you're going to get plenty of armor from your strength, and then after that go into life. Next up, life on hit, very, very important. Life on hit, very important for this build. You'll even see that I even rolled some on my IK gloves, whereas normally you could go with a damage buff there. But it is very important in 2.1. You don't want to die in greater rifts because you got to respawn at the last checkpoint. It's just not a very efficient way to go. So it's better to stay alive, do a little bit less damage than to die and then, you know, have to run God knows how far back. Resource cost reduction, I'm running that just because I do get off quite a few seismic slams, and again, this is mostly for elites. It's not going to be, your white mobs are going to be, you know, plentiful. You're going to be able to Furious Charge a ton of stuff and clear out a lot of stuff. Next up, area damage. If you're not worried about resource cost reduction and you're not worried about getting off a lot of seismic slams, you can certainly go with area damage to get plenty out of your Furious Charge. Personal preference there, but like I said, life on hit, very, very important. Outside of that, guys, like I said, we're going to do a little bit of gameplay so you can see this in action. There's some really, really cool stuff that goes on with this Furious Charge build, so stick around, we'll show you that. If you're cutting off here, thanks for watching, guys, and for you sticking around, here comes a little bit of gameplay, and let's do this. Okay, so we're sitting at about 982,000 damage. We've got a little bit going here. We buff up a little bit. We make sure we've got our Battle Rage up, we've got our War Cry up, and then the rest, you know, like I said, we've got our Call of the Ancients up, now Furious Charge. Now, like I said, the main aspects of Furious Charge, it reduces the cooldown, all enemies are pulled to you, and you generate the additional Fury, which goes hand in hand with our Berserker Rage. So these are all very important things, because you're going to see the white mobs are going to be very easy to group up as soon as we find them, and we are just going to hold on to stuff in here. We've got some elites right out here. Come on and play, guys. Now this is one of the fun things about this. Let's see if we can group these guys up. The blue guys you can move. Whoops, we are stuck in some ice there. And we're going to work our way out of there real quick. Now, it stuns enemies as well, which is the cool part. So if we can group these guys up, you'll see that we have just enough cooldown to stun them and get them right back. And just like that, those blue guys are dead. Now, it can be quite a bit more effective. Like I said, that's one of the things why you need ranged is because you have, you know, your weapon throw. You're going to have instances where you got to get out of there. And as you can see, T6, a couple Furious Charges here. Look at the numbers on the Ancients. These guys are doing 5 million crits. It's really nice. Let's open this door and let them do some damage in there. And one of the things, like I said, you can just kind of go in there. You can hold your... That's why I prefer to have Furious Charge on my one key as opposed to my right click, because you can just kind of hold this thing down and work your way through. Grab those guys. Let the Ancients finish that guy off. And rebuff there. And this is the fun part. If there's enough guys around, you can just say, oh, yeah, you want a piece? Group everything up. Hit it if you want. We're just clearing trash mobs. We don't have to clear out every single enemy here. But show you guys the effectiveness. You can kind of bring everything along with you. Let's get us a yellow guy so you can see this on a yellow guy. Oh, now they feared me. And as long as you can keep these white mobs up around them just long enough, you'll see that we are... That was weird. That was a little glitchy. You can see that we are... Wish they'd stop fearing me. we are continuing to charge, and now we're down to the single target. That's the fun thing with the yellows, is that if you can keep, you know, the regular guys up around them, we'll just bring them right in, and then you can continue to sit there and charge. We're using Seismic Slam. Go ahead and get a little bit more fury there with our Reaper's Wraps, and we'll slam that guy. So there you saw the effectiveness of the Furious Charge and Seismic Slam, both for group purposes and single target purposes. Like I said, that can be quite effective with you know, elite mobs. It kind of depends. It works really well for the blue guys. The yellow guys, obviously, once you kill off their minions, it does make it a little bit harder to get a lot of Furious Charges off. So it's important to have a backup. So that's where your backup comes into play with Seismic Slam. Yeah, we'll charge them for just old time's sake. So that's it, guys. This is the Furious Charge build. It was a ton of fun. I think I cleared with a group, I think level 33 Greater Rift, and I'll tell you one thing, there was enough mobs in there to where it was like a permanent stun. You know, for my job, there was a little bit of crowd control. Yeah, some other guys are doing, you know, plenty of damage. I'm not going to say this is the absolute top build out there. Especially for single target. It does make it a little bit tough. So here, we'll do one single target real quick so you guys can see this in action. I'm going to ignore the ads, but you can charge only every so often. We've got a little bit of fury there. We build that down. We charge. We get a little bit back up. And now this is the one part where, you know, this build does struggle, is that you do need a little bit more, you know, single target damage. Now, while this is T6 and we are knocking this guy down, we can still stun him with Furious Charge. And you see the Ancients there did quite a bit of damage on their own. You know, that's the main part. And, you know, trying to find the single target damage with the Barbarian in 2.1 is a little bit tough. You know, they brought Whirlwind back up to speed. You know, the Leap Quake build is still out there, whether it be fire or cold. So, you know, it's going to be personal preference on which direction you're going to go with the Barbarian. If you plan on running a lot of solo content, maybe this is for you, maybe it's not. I am going to run this guy in nothing but group play. And this is great. You know, some of the guys don't like it because it does tend to knock them off their center, you know, target. But that's okay, because this thing is far more than viable. As you can see, we went through T6. We cleared a blue mob, a yellow mob, and, you know, that purple guy. And I think T6 is probably right around Greater Rift 25, 26, depending on, you know, where you're at toughness-wise. So, you know, it's going to depend on what direction you want to go. Toughness, we're sitting at 18 million with our War Cry, so we can hang tough. You know, quite a bit up there as far as how we go. Buffed up, you know, you might have a little bit more areas we can get some more damage, and that's fine. Personally, I'm running this. You know, I'm not out to do top damage, but I am out to hurt people, and I am out to, you know, do some crowd control. This is a way to do it. So hopefully this, guys, has helped you out a little bit, gives you a couple more options. Stay tuned. We're going to be doing, if you made it this far, whoops. If you made it this far, you know, we're going to be doing some more Barbarian videos to give you a couple other directions you can go with, because there's a lot of diversity. So stick around for those. Feel free to like. If this has helped you at all, feel free to subscribe if you want to watch some more videos. There's plenty more out there. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, happy hunting, and we'll see you next time.